Hey everyone, Shawn here from the Automation Blog and School, and in this episode of the Automation Podcast, I sit down with Raj from Siemens to learn all about their lines of distributed I/O.
Raj, thank you for coming on the Automation Podcast. I'm excited to sit down with you and learn about the Simatic ET200 line of I/O. And before we get started, though, could you tell our audience a little bit about yourself and your role at the company?
Shawn, it's a pleasure to meet you and talk to you today. My name is Raj Rajendra, and thank you again for having me in your podcast today. I'm a product manager in the US for Siemens Simatic range of I/O systems for PLCs and our smaller logic controller logo. I have worked in the automation industry for many years now, and it is my pleasure to talk to automation professionals via your blog. We have a variety of I/O products that we offer, and I will try to give a brief introduction to them and focus on one line of product for the benefit of our viewers today. Hopefully, in the future, we will talk about the others too in detail. Let's get started. As you can see in the picture, we offer both IP20 rated I/O and IP65-67 rated I/O products. Both the IP20 rated I/O lines of products are modular I/O. In the IP65-67 rated I/O, we offer our ET200 Pro series that is here, that is as a modular I/O product, and the other two are just block I/Os. Again, as you can see here, our ET200 Eco PN is a block I/O, but it is made much more rugged so that it can sit outdoors also.
So, for the audio podcast listeners, this is a great slide. I definitely recommend checking it out when you can. But for the indoor IP20, we have the ET200 SP, the smaller, thinner modules, and the ET200 MP, which is typically what you see on the side of like an SM1500. But then for the IP6567, I think Raj did a great job explaining the ET200 Pro as a modular system. And then we had the ET200AL, which is kind of like a standalone blocks, similar to the ET200 Eco, which is that rugged outdoor block.
We continue to innovate our hardware to be in line with the current technology and make them reliable with extensive diagnostic capabilities. Fail-safe, motion control, and other technologies are integrated in the hardware and the software solutions we offer. Customers get to choose the right solution in terms of their application needs and expand if required without having to redesign extensively. These we see as our strength in our I/O systems. In this picture here, I have taken a typical bottling plant and shown the possible places where the different I/O systems can be used. As you can see in number one, ET200 MP-IO is being used remotely sitting somewhere else in a cabinet with the controller alongside it. But on the production line itself, on station 2 and 3, we are using ET200 SPs in cabinets, built inside cabinets, but as smaller pieces of cabinets. You don't need large cabinets because it's a compact I/O system. And it is also used alongside a distributed controller. ET200 SP is being used alongside a distributed controller in a central configuration. Then when you look at 5 and 6, that's where the ET200 AL is being used because it's mounted on the machine itself. It's IP65-67 rated, so it can be mounted on the machine. And also you can see on number 6, it's being used on a moving arm that moves very fast, and AL is designed just for that. It's light in weight. So if for designers who are concerned about inertia of the machines, that is the right I/O module for that. Then we come to this station here, station 7. We are using ET200 Pro that is mounted on the conveyor again. Because it's extremely rugged area where extreme temperatures are encountered, ET200 Pro is chosen there. Then when you come outside where the outbound logistics are, ET200 Pro Eco PN is being used because it's sitting outside of it's sitting outdoors. So you can't use the other block IO ET200AL. You have to use Eco PN. This is just a simple example where you can use our IO in different scenarios. Like I said before, I will focus more on our ET200 SP. Which is smaller in size, but strong enough to meet the industry standards. We design our IO system based on the feedback we get from our customers. So as far as we know, the customer's requirements are that distributed IO system needs to be compact in size, but not compromising on bus cycle times. Must not waste energy, providing the right size of IO at the machine level. It must be simple to wire, install, and commission faster. Even better, if the IP20 station can be extended to an IP65-67 IO, that's preferable. Diagnostic should be available at controller level with minimum effort. That is how we see it, and that's how we design our products. So this is a high-level overview of our ET200 SP IO systems. We offer both fail-safe modules and standard IO modules, and there is no separation. You can mix and match them. It's very compact in design, energy efficient in that you choose only the right size of IO you want, so you don't waste. You buy a station that's oversized or undersized. It's rugged enough to meet the industry standards. And we not only offer standard IO like digital inputs, outputs, and analogs, we also offer intelligent IO like counter modules, pulse width modulating modules, or pulse train output modules, or other technology modules for motion control. The terminals are push-in terminals. So it's easy to wire it and connect it to the field devices. The connections are tool-free. You don't need any special tools, just your hands and push the terminal in and it gets secured in there. And one of the biggest advantages is that you don't have to carry a lot of spare parts and accessories because they are of the same type. All the terminal modules we use here have only two variations. One is the light colored one is the dark colored one. And all the modules use the same terminal modules. And also, if you come to the interface module, I will cover that in detail. The connection to the interface module can be copper or glass fiber, but you don't have to change the interface module just because the interface is changing. The connection to the field device is changing. So interface module, one single part number, but you can choose whether you want copper connection or fiber optic connection. That's an advantage with our IO system. Let's look at the mechanical design of an ET200 SP station. You start with a DIN rail. You can clip the interface module, clip on the interface module to that. And then you will use your base unit onto which the modules will be mounting. You clip that on and you can insert your IO module on top of that. And you can slide it back towards the left and it'll click and get secured with the interface module. And in the end, you will use a servo module, same thing. You will clip it onto the DIN rail and slide it to the left and it will click onto the adjacent module and get secured. And you don't have to do any, you don't need any tools or anything, and the station is ready to go. So like I said, first there's an interface module, your base units, your IO modules, then you terminate it with a server module. So let's look at the interface module. You have a flexible connection to Profinet, Profibus, Ethernet IP or Modbus TCP via copper or fiber optic connection. IO modules, a large selection of IO modules are available. And the base unit, there are two types of base units. One is the light colored base units. Another one is a darker color base unit. And the difference is the light colored base unit is where your 24 volt in feed is. And the dark colored ones, they get their 24 volt feeding through the light colored one to the left. So when do you go back to another light colored base unit? When your power budget is exceeded, you will start with another light colored base unit and feed it with 24 volts. That's how it works. We will go and look at it in detail in the following slides. One important thing I wanted to mention here is you will think, okay, you are using the same type of base unit. Isn't it possible somebody will pull out a module and plug in the wrong module in there? No, that's not possible. We have a key here that comes with the IO module. When you plug it into a base unit for the first time, the key gets engaged in here. So if you bring in another module and try to push it in there, it won't let you. It will only take that module back in there. If you're going to replace a bad module, what you will do is you will take the key out from the new module and push it in here and it will engage in there. So that's a safety measure we have. We were talking about the different connection possibilities. Before looking at them, let's look at and see how many variations of interface modules we have. We have altogether 4 types of interface modules. The first one is known as our basic interface module. Then we have our standard interface module and our high feature interface module and our high speed interface module. The basic interface module will suit customers who are very cost conscious. They are not too much bothered about extensive diagnostics of the IO, and they don't need that many IO modules in a station. This basic interface module supports up to 12 modules. It comes with a built-in bus adapter with 2 Ethernet ports. So there's no possibility for you to remove the bus adapter and plug in another type of bus adapter to accommodate, say, let's say, for example, a fiber optic connection. So that's not possible. And the base unit is also basic interface module is also limited in that it cannot take our fail-safe IO in there. Other than that, it is good enough for customers who are cost conscious about their IO station. The second one is the standard, we call it the standard interface module. That can take both different types of bus adapters. We have 2 types of copper bus adapters. One is called the Fast Connect, other one is standard. Fast Connect is a Siemens technology we use. It's easy to make the connections and plug them in. And all what you buy is you buy the interface module separate and you choose which kind of bus adapter you want and you plug that onto the interface module. And the standard interface module is capable of accommodating 32 IO modules. Safety IO modules are allowed. And you can expand the station, which I'm going to show later, from an IP20 station to an IP67 station by plugging in a bus adapter just to extend it to an IP67 station, 65, 67 station. And also another thing is, if you want to do hot swapping, you can do that because ET200 has an active backplane, but the limitation is only one module can be plugged out and plugged in again. Then the third unit is the high feature module. That's the top end module that can accommodate up to 64 IO modules, which is fairly large for an IO station. You can have both copper, like what we have here, or fiber optic connection using that kind of bus adapters. We have different kinds of bus adapters that I will cover in the next slide. And also these stations support isochronous mode. I will tell you very briefly what is isochronous mode is. Isochronous mode is very precise Profibus cycle times for those stations. And these stations, for example, can go up to 250 microseconds every time. The Profibus is guaranteed. It will read and write to that station every 250 microseconds. And you may want, okay, that's fine, but how about the jitter? Jitter is less than 1 microsecond, and that's guaranteed. And it allows multi-hot swapping. In that, you can be pulling out more than one IO module and your PLC is not going to go into stop mode. Then the last one, interface module, is the high speed. This is for applications that require extremely high speed operations like motion control applications. In that case, the number of modules is limited to 30 modules. But you will notice the isochronous mode Profibus cycle time can be as small as 125 microseconds here. And the last one here, it's not an interface module. We are trying to show you that we can also use the SPIO in a central configuration with a CPU that comes in the same form factor. And alongside, you can plug in the IO modules and you have a distributed controller with ET200 SPIO. I also want to introduce you to a new interface module that we introduced recently. And all the while, you would have noticed we only have two connections in each interface module. We also came across customers who want to know, that's fine, you come in here and take it to the next station using the next port. How about if I want to connect my programming PC or have a little HMI connected to this station so that I don't have to have it running a cable all the way to the PLC, or have an extra switch here just for that. So we offer this interface module that will accommodate another bus adapter, allowing you to have 3 Ethernet connections. The third one can be used as a stub line to connect your PC to program the PLC, or an HMI that can be local to the panel there. Then I kept talking about these bus adapters, copper, fiber. Okay, what kind of copper and fiber bus adapters we offer? We offer copper bus adapters that are, like I said earlier, the standard one, that's RJ45 that you will find in the market or you can buy from Siemens. And the connections are standard RJ45. The bus adapter is using the standard RJ45 connection. This adapter is Siemens proprietary. This allows you to have the fast connect option that you can buy from Siemens, and it's easy to construct it and plug it in. Then we come to the fiber optic connection. There are 2 types of fiber optic connections possible. One is plastic and one is glass. The plastic ones can run up to 300 meters only. And these are the different type of connections we allow. This CRJ or combination. One port is a CRJ, one port is RJ45. Some customers will like it that way. Another one is one port is CRJ, one is fast connect. So we allow that. And when you go to glass fiber optics, that can run up to 2 kilometers. So you from your one station to another station, you can run up to 2 kilometers. And then again, we get these kind of connections. Possible 2 LC ports are allowed, that is Lucent connector, or it's a combination of Lucent and RJ45 or Lucent or fast connect. These are the connection options you have with the bus adapters. So we talked about our interface modules, and we said there are 4 types: basic, standard, high feature, and high speed. We have the similar principle when it comes to our IO systems, IO modules. We offer our IO modules as basic IO modules, standard, high feature, and high speed IO modules. Why so? The basic IO modules are inexpensive for customers who are very conscious about the costs, and it offers very limited diagnostics. In that, for example, it will tell the module is not working. That's it. You don't get much out of it. The standard ones allow you more things, like if you have parameters to be adjusted. For example, if you are using an analog input module that has other parameters, not just the value itself, the range of measurement or whatever, it'll allow you to adjust those parameters, these modules. And it'll also give you more diagnostics about the module, unlike the basic IO module. And the data processing is also faster with them. Then we go to our high feature module. That will also include our fail-safe modules, but there are other high feature modules also. These modules will have even more diagnostics specific to the channel, so that it can tell you if a particular channel is working or not, if there is short circuit there, if there is it will tell you if there is short circuit or wire break or whatever fault is there on that channel. And you can choose different modes for these high feature modules. Say, for example, a high feature module may operate as a counter or a standard input module, that kind of operations. And there are other expanded functionalities that are not covered here. And we also have high-speed modules. High-speed modules, we talked about isochronous mode, very precise Profinet bus cycle times. If you want to make use of that, you will need high-speed modules that will support isochronous mode. And the data transfer rate, like we said, for the isochronous mode is much faster. These IO modules will support that kind of data transfer rate. Another thing these modules can do is they can do oversampling. Oversampling is another feature where what the module will do is, within one Profinet cycle, it will collect 15 samples at fixed intervals. So the PLC will get data not on one PLC cycle, but it will get data 15 times. So sampling rates can be as small as 50 microseconds. So what are these modules we offer? So we offer, like everyone else, we offer digital inputs, digital outputs, analog inputs, analog outputs. What are the measuring ranges? These are the measuring ranges we offer. What's the highest? We start from 4 channels to 16 channels on a small module like that. It's 16 channels is fair number of channels for a small module. Same thing with output modules. We have 24-volt DC inputs, or AC inputs are also permitted. We have modules that can go up to 5 amps to connect a device like relays. The modules are again 4 to 16 channels. We have analog input module that can measure current, voltage, RTD, thermocouple, or energy measuring. And outputs, we have in current and voltage output modules. How about communication? We have whole range of possibilities for you. We have IO link master modules. We have point-to-point connection modules, RC, including RC failsafe. We also offer, if you have a Profinet station, but you have some legacy hardware that talks only Profibus, you can extend to it using a Profibus master module. We also let you connect your station to other field bus systems that are preferred in some industries, like CanOpen. BackNet, for example, is for building automation. MBus is for metering devices. DALI is for industrial lighting. SAE J1939 is heavy vehicle industries. So we offer communications modules that will talk to those field buses. Not only that, we offer technology modules. These are special modules that will allow you to, the module itself has its own processor because it has got to do processing at faster rate than the PLC. So for example, you want to do counting, positioning, cams, or time-based IO. Time-based IO is irrespective of the PLC's time. Events should happen at the module level. You specify a time at which it'll pick up a signal and turn on an output for you. We also have modules for energy measurement for customers who are concerned about metering the energy levels, how much energy is being consumed and reported back. We have an energy metering module. And you want to do weighing, there are weighing modules we offer. We also offer very low voltage DC servo and stepper motor drives. And the last one we offer is motor starters. So there are a whole heap of options for you when it comes to technology modules. So let's summarize what advantages a customer has using the SPIO stations. It's quick and easy to set up, tool-free cabling with push-in terminals. It's push-in terminals, so you don't need any tools, just push the wire in and it gets secured there. You try to pull it out, it won't come out. And we offer shielding terminals if you are using analog signals that you can use that can get mounted onto the base unit. Like I said earlier, so you don't need any tools to set up the station. An effective footprint. On comparison to many IO systems, it's about 50% narrower when you build up a station. Also, the base unit give you enough space here to run your cables and to support standardized bending radii. So even if you're having a very small control cabinet, there's plenty of space for you to run your cables there. And when you connect your wires to the terminal, you can use these color-coded matrix codes that you can fix onto this to indicate the different signals you are passing through. For example, for your 24-volt line, you might want to have red, and for your neutral, you might want to have blue. So you can buy this color coding matrix and push it onto that on the terminal, and it will get secured there. And also for reference identification, what module it is, which device it's controlling, you can put these labels here and it'll stay there. Some more advantages. These stations can be extended to an IP6567 station. All what you have to do is plug in a bus adapter for that. It's a special bus adapter. Run the bus cable to the AL station and expand it with another bus cable. We will look at very briefly what an AL IO station is. It's an IP6567 rated station. And the point here we are trying to make is you don't have to have another network interface module just because of that. You can just extend it from your ET200SP station. And we also support configuration control. Configuration control, to tell you very briefly, customers, especially OEMs, like to build machines that are standard. The application says, this station is going to have station A, B, and C, IO station A, B, and C. When they actually deliver the machines, that application is going to use only station A and B. And if that is supported by the station, the application will take care of it, but the PLC is not going to complain that the other station C is not available there. That is for another time to discuss, but very briefly, that's the principle behind it. Safety is integrated. We talked about it earlier. So you don't have to have a separate station just for safety. And there is no particular order you have to follow when you are going to use the safety IO. And also for our digital inputs, digital output and analog inputs, safety inputs and output, we support up to SIL3. And if you want to shut down your analog output and digital output, standard digital output and standard analog output, that is also possible with an external relay, safety relay, or our power module just for that. So everything next right side of the power module will be shut down if you use that power module, and the power shutdown is SIL2 rated. And what about highest flexibility? We say it's very high flexibility. Yes, I mentioned configuration control earlier. That is allowed. And we can expand it very easily. And if you have, for example, you are building a station, but you are not sure if you are going to have an IO there, you are allowed to have a gap there. You can leave gaps and decide to have an IO module in that gap later on. And I also mentioned multiple hot swapping is allowed. So while the PLC is running, you can pull out modules and push them back in again, and the PLC will not stop. Let me talk about some other cool stuff that we have introduced recently. We also introduced a new interface module. We call it the multi-field bus interface module that is capable of supporting 3 different field bus systems. So we have decided our PLC and our IO, especially our IO system, we don't want to limit them to Profinet and Profibus only. We want to sell them to customers who are using other field bus systems like Ethernet IP and Modbus TCP. So we released this interface module that is capable of communicating in Ethernet IP or Modbus TCP or Profinet. Currently, the version we have only supports 1 field bus system at a time, but the hardware is the same. All what you need is the appropriate configuration downloaded to that. The configuration tool is something we offer. That is a free download from Siemens. And you can say this station is going to talk to an Ethernet IP station. Another day you decide, no, it's going to be Modbus TCP. Do you download the configuration? It will communicate Modbus. And the final idea is not just 1 field bus. We want a station to talk to multiple field bus systems at the same time. For example, in this picture, what you see is this part of the IO is communicating Ethernet IP. This part is talking Modbus TCP, and our ProfiSafe IO is communicating Profinet. And the station will support it. It is being tested at some select customers, and they are using them. And we hopefully by the end of November, this firmware will be available. The good thing is customers who bought the interface module currently and using it with, say, for example, Ethernet IP, and they want part of the IO to be controlled with Profinet. All what they have to buy is they don't have to buy the interface module, another interface module. They go to our service and support pages, download the new firmware, and they are ready to go, and they can configure the station saying that, okay, this part is Ethernet IP, this part is Profinet, and within your, for example, if you are using a Rockwell PLC, you can go to Studio 5000 and import the ESD file, and your station is ready to go. And on the Profinet side, of course, we don't need any special consideration. We can just use TIA portal and it will talk to the station without any additional effort. And what are the limitations? Our idea is to have 6 controllers maximum talking to a station. Remember, these stations are capable of expanding up to 64 IO modules. So up to 6 controllers can talk, but only 2 at a time, 2 Ethernet IP controllers, 2 Modbus TCP controllers, or 2 Profinet controllers. So look forward to it. It'll become available end of November. Some additional information about this multi-field bus device. We are not going to restrict it to only our ET200 SP. We also want to offer this with our Eco PN type of IO block IO. And in coming years, we will also offer it with ET200 MP. And not only that, AT200AL also. That's one good thing. Another good thing we're offering is a PNMF coupler. This is a coupler that will allow you to have, for example, a Profinet controller on one side and Ethernet IP controller on another side. They're both exchanging IO data in real time with minimum configuration effort. So this is another piece of hardware we are offering that is available now. As for the multi-field bus interface module, we offer only this now. This is being tested, and the other product lines are in the roadmap, being planned. And like I said, I want to emphasize again, you only pay for the hardware. The configuration tool is free download, and the firmware as and when we release with newer features, that is also free download, and you don't spend a cent more to accommodate newer features. Another important thing I want to talk about is IO-Link. IO-Link is a very popular bus system that is widely being used now. And how about Siemens? Do we offer anything for IO-Link? Yes, we do. We offer IO-Link master modules for our S7-1200 PLCs. We also offer them in our ET200 MP version, SP, AL, and the Eco versions also. And importantly, if you use the multi-field bus interface module, we will also support Ethernet IP and Modbus TCP, not just Profibus or Profinet. So you can have a station that's a multi-field bus interface module with IO-Link master modules in that station, and your Ethernet IP controller is talking to IO-Link devices. What else do we offer for IO-Link? We offer a whole heap of devices, and from our factory automation group, we also offer IO-Link modules. Some people call these as hubs. So you, from your master, you can come to these devices and you can connect your IO-Link devices, digital inputs and outputs to these hubs we offer. And our other business units also offer other kind of devices like RFIDs, flow sensors, function modules, and in command and signaling devices. These are all offered by Siemens. We also offer some new features with our IO modules. I will talk only very briefly about these. Where this possibility of this module, we have an input module and an output module here. The input module picks up a signal and turns on the output without waiting for the PLC to so usually you will get the input data going to the PLC. PLC processes that and sends it back, and the output module turns on, output turns on. In this case, it doesn't happen that way. Within one Profinet cycle time, the input is picked up and the output is processed. It is not just picking the signal and turning the output on. You can also have a small logic parameterized within the module, and it'll do that for you. What's the use of that? You can think of something like CAM. You can have a CAM disk running. So you can have up to 16 CAMs per module. So you very simple and inexpensive way of running a CAM. Of course, the limitation will be the speed. If that is not sufficient, you will buy a special module just for the CAM application. But if the speed is good enough for you, yes, why not? Within 250 microseconds, you will see your signal picked up and the output turning on. These are other modules I wanted to mention. We mentioned these earlier. We said that we have high-speed modules, we have standard modules, basic module, high-speed, and high-feature. These high-speed modules are basically, you can use it as a standard input module or as a counting module. What's so special about it? Yes, it saves you money. You don't have to buy just a module as a counting module just because you want to do some counting. If the counting frequency is enough for you, like 10 kilohertz, you don't have to go and buy a special module just for doing counting work. You can buy a high-speed module and it'll do the counting for you. And you can select which channel is going to do counting, which channel is going to do standard inputs. It's possible. Same thing with output module. You can have an output module that can do pulse width modulation for you. Again, you can drive up to 2 microseconds, 0.2 microseconds to period you can program for the pulse width modulation. And all high-speed modules also supports oversampling. I mentioned it earlier. Oversampling is what oversampling? Oversampling is the module itself picks up 15 samples of data at equal intervals and passes it on to the PLC in one Profinet cycle time. So because it does it so fast, you can see a resolution about 31.25 microseconds for output of analog values. For inputs, acquiring inputs, you can sample them at the rate of 50 microseconds. This may be an application for measuring for quality measurements, like a width of a steel plate being cut. You want to keep monitoring the length being cut or the width of the sheet being cut. And this can be used for quality inspection, for example. Another module we are offering is as a digital output module that's capable of 2 amps output. Is a high feature module where you can control the waveform of the output. And this possible application is heating applications. So if you want to have a heating application where the current rating is not huge, of course we offer our heater control systems, but for small application, inexpensive means of doing that and controlling with different waveforms is possible with this module. Some industries like aerospace industry and automotive, they ask for special things in our modules, and so we have a module just for that. This is an analog input module. It's a thermocouple high-speed module. Another module, again, based on customer needs, we developed is digital input module, 8-channel, but it's very flexible. You can use it with AC inputs or DC inputs, and very inexpensive. It's just a basic module. It may not offer you lots of diagnostics, but it's very inexpensive, can be used in applications like tunnel, sewage stream, railway applications. So let's summarize. So what do we have with the 8200 SP? It's fast station setup. We have talked about it so many times in this presentation. It's easy to set up, quick, and wire it and commission it. Reliable diagnostics up to channel level, and you can take your diagnostic to the PLC and even further up to your HMI or SCADA system. And you don't get to do any programming at all. It's by default, it's all built in our hardware and software. The design is compact, it saves you space and saves you money. Your cabinet can be smaller. So in terms of performance, yes, you don't have to have a huge station just because you are planning to have something. You can start small and keep expanding on that. And we have even a CPU that can sit next to it in the same form factor. And the CPU is like having an A7-1500 CPU. And you don't lose anything in terms of speed just because using the SPIO. It has the same performance. And I mentioned this earlier, it can be easily expanded to an ET200AL, IP65-67 rated station. And I will talk about it when I introduce ET200AL to you. C+ was mentioned earlier in the presentation about PLCs, but I want to just mention it here because C+, all of IO modules are offered in the C+ version also to expanded temperature ranges and other mechanical and environmental conditions. Then these are the other line of products I wanted to talk about, starting with ET200MP. And like I said before, I'm not going to go in detail about them, but we'll have a quick look at how they look like, what are the things we offer, and I will conclude with that. So MP is a station, basically similar to our SP, but it's a larger station. It comes with high density IO, and it can be used with a PLC in a central configuration or used as a remote station as in a distributor configuration. The IO modules can be multifunctional IO modules. One module can do many things for you. I mentioned this already. It can be in central or distributor configuration. Supports both 24-volt DC and 230-volt AC IO. It's rugged to meet the standard for the industry, IP20. The high channel counts is the highlight of that. I will cover that. It can go up to 64 channels in one module. We offer both push-in and screw terminal for this kind of larger systems. Some customers like screw terminals. Yes, you can have your terminals as screw terminals. We offer fail-safe IO module, both digital input and output. And reduced part variance, yes, because the front connector is the same, irrespective of what kind of module you are using. And the bus adapter in the back that couples the IO devices is the same. So you don't have to keep buying different type part numbers for these accessories. So how does it mechanically look like? So first you will have a power supply, followed by your interface module, then your IO modules. Then when your power supply, you have exhausted with your power budget, you will insert another power supply and continue. That's the mounting rail. And we have IO modules. I think I have to correct this. It is up to 64 channels, and an analog can be 8 channels, up to 8 channels. Front connector is the same for all kind of IO. How about the IOs? Yes, same principle here. We have basic, standard, high feature, and high speed IO modules, like what we have seen in the SP side of things. How about the front connector? I said it's a standard front connector, irrespective of what kind of IO module you are using, and you wire it. And there is a latching position where you can pull the front connector so that it's not touching the module's contacts, and you can do the wiring on the station itself and plug it back into the IO station, and the module is ready to go. And if you want to have pre-wired connection, that is also possible. We offer something called our top connect connectors. There are two options. One is pre-wired at the connector end, but the other end is free. So you can take it to the field devices and connect there. Or we have a fully modular connections that comes with both ends wired with connectors. You plug it into the IO module and take it to the terminal module that we supply. Those are fused terminal modules. And from there, you can take them back to the field devices. All these years, we did not have an active backplane for these ET200 MPIO. Now we do offer them. There are three possibilities. One is 4-slot, 8-slot, and 12-slot IO is active backplane modules are offered. And there is no change in design. You use the same rail into which you slide the active backplane and you plug in your modules, and your modules are ready to go. And I said that we have increased the channel count. Now we offer up to 64 channel digital inputs. That's within one module. No change in width or anything, same width module, but it can accommodate up to 64 digital inputs. And we have 64 digital outputs also. So let's summarize our added values. Tool-free wiring. Same thing, you don't need any special tools for wiring. If you're using the push-in terminals, shield terminals, you can buy them for analogs, and it gets mounted directly onto the module. You have tool-free setup of the station if you are using a push-in terminal. Safety is possible. We offer safety-rated, SIL3 rated digital inputs and output. For these safety related IO, you don't need any dip switches. There's a coding element that takes care of it. And every channel has an LED. So to one-to-one assignment of LED, if a channel is faulty, you can see the fault in the module itself. So in the end, what's the usability options for station setup? Like we kept talking about it. If you are going to use push-in terminals, and there's a pre-wiring position where you can keep the front connector away from touching the module itself, do your wiring and push it in, and the IO card is ready to go. Reliable diagnostics like our IO system, any other IO system, and clearly marked channel with the cable assignments. Because it has high channel count, like 64 channel, can be very compact. So in terms of performance, yes, optionally designed for use. So ideally, it's designed for the 1500 PLC. For example, there are no stopping you're using with the 1200 CPU, but it is designed for 1500 CPUs. Fail-safe and standard application can be implemented in the same station. We can go up to 230 volts AC, and suitable for extreme requirements. The next product line I want to cover is ET200 Pro. We saw this earlier when we covered IP65-67 rated IO. And this is the module IO system for machine mounting. So what are the advantages? It's easy to mount, flexible through large portfolio of IOs. Again, like any other IO system, we offer safety modules, IO links, standard modules, motor starters, even frequency converters. And also we support valve control, pneumatic valve control with third-party products. Diagnostics is like any other Siemens IO. Extensive diagnostics is possible, easy to configure, high availability because it has an active backplane, so you can do hot swapping. So multiple connections are possible. Basically, what happens is you have a mounting rail, so you slide in your bus modules inside the alongside the mounting rail. Then you plug in your IO module there, and on top of that, you plug in your connection module. So there are three components for an IO module: a bus module, the IO module itself, and the connection module. Why different connection module? Because different customers prefer different kinds of connection modules. So some customers will say every channel should have its own connection possible. Some customers will want to double up the connection possibility. So instead of 8 connections, there will be 4 connections, but 2 channels per port. So we have that option available with ET200 Pro. Let's look at a typical station. Same thing like ET200 SP or MP. You start with the interface module. Then your IO module comes next to them. So there is a power connection on the interface module side of it. This is the actual interface module. This is where the power and network connects. And you can have standard and fail-safe inputs in the same station. And we also offer a carrier, the mounting rail to support larger devices like motor starters and drives. So you can either buy a smaller mounting rail or the larger, wider mounting rail. Then comes special IO modules like RFIDs and IO links are supported. Then comes if you are going to use drives, for example, and motor starters, you can have a repair switch. Then you can turn it off while somebody is working on them so that they won't get electrocuted. And you can lock them also. There's a mechanism to put a lock onto that so that people can't turn it on without your permission. Then we offer motor starters and variable speed drives, frequency converters. Motor starters comes in various forms: direct, reversing, and soft starters. Let's cover ET200AL now. I have talked about it earlier when I talked about ET200SP, and I kept saying that it can be expanded to ET200AL. How does it happen? First of all, it's because it's IP65, 67 rated, higher degree of protection against dust and water, whatever the IP65, 61 specifies. Low weight. It's made of plastic. For that reason, it can be mounted on fast-moving objects like robotic arms. That require the inertia is very important for the mechanical engineer. So it can be mounted on that kind of machines. It's resistant against temperature and vibrations because it's sitting on machines. Simple to install and faster to commission. Integrated solution with IP20 and IP67, which I will show you in the next slide. Fast diagnostics directly at the programmable control. This is common to all of IO systems anyway. So let's look at it. How do we connect it? Like from your PLC, the cable comes in here and it connects to your interface module. From your interface module, you will have the ET200 IO module to the left and right of the interface module. So what's the idea? On one side, you can have 16 modules, and on another side, you can have 16 modules. So that means altogether 32 IO modules can be supported by one interface module. That's one option. Another option is you already have an SP station and you want to expand it to an AL station. All what you do is you plug in a bus adapter, and from there you go to ET200 AL IO module and keep on expanding it up to 16 IO modules. So if you want to have more IO like 32, you will use an interface module. but it is less than 16 and you already have an SP station. All what you need is a bus adapter, and from there you can expand it to ET200 AL. We offer both M8 and M12 connections, and we offer a range of IO modules, inputs, outputs, RFID, and also we offer IO Link Master. And the possible connection options are Profinet and Profibus. In future, we will also offer this interface module in multi-field bus configuration. That means you should be able to have EAL IO being controlled by Ethernet IP and Modbus TCP. The last one is EcoPN. EcoPN is the extremely ruggedized IO system that can be used outdoors also. And we had a line of product. This Eco version was there available for Profibus. Then we introduced it for EcoPN. And within the last 1 year or so, we innovated that with a new design. Previously, we had 2 types of widths. Now it's only a single width with the new design. And the color is also a bit lighter now. And the important thing is the power in feed. Previously, it was just standard M12 connector. Now it is M12L. Why M12L? It can carry larger currents like 12 amps. Why so? Because if you want to expand go from one station to another, previously you had to have separate power feed for them. Now, because it carries larger current, you can bring this power in here, take the power out, and go to the next module. That's the advantage of using the M12 coder. And we also offer SIL2 level shutdown for this. There is one module for failsafe module for SIL3, but we haven't done it for the newer version. The older version is still available, but we'll be introducing the SIL3 rated safety module soon for this. So I am covering in general the summary of these EcoPN. Yes, we have Profinet and Ethernet IP and TCP in preparation. It should become available towards February timeframe. Connection technology is M12L for power, so that you can carry larger current. And assembly is the same width for all the modules, no different widths. So they all look the same width and height and same depth. And it is possible to mount them front, and vertical mounting is possible. One last thing I want to cover is what tools we offer in terms of IO, if you want to do IO checking. First of all, if you want to pick all these different 5 types of IO systems, how can a customer go ahead and do that? Yeah, we have our Siemens TIA selection tool. It's a free download, or you can do it on the cloud. You can go in there and select the line of IO you want, and there is a wizard that will help you if you're not sure what you want. But if you know what you want, then you can go and pick and choose the station, and it will allow you to export that station, and you can bring it inside your TIA portal, and your station is ready to be programmed. And also the selection can be exported to ePlan, and where you can do your wiring schematics. Another thing that we offer is this is also a free download. This is ProNeta. What does ProNeta do? ProNeta will allow you to do your IO checking. You don't need a programming software from Siemens if that costs money. This is free. And so your panel builder can do the IO checking. After building the panel, he can go ahead and turn on the inputs and turn on the outputs, feed the inputs, and see if they are working the way they want them to work. So these are some free tools that we offer. And this is all I wanted to present today. And I will hand it over to Shawn if Shawn has anything to say.
Raj, I just want to thank you for coming on the show. I learned so much. You filled in so many gaps in my knowledge about the Siemens IO offering, especially even this last slide here, some of the tools that I can't wait to get my hands on. So thank you very much for taking the time out of your busy day to come on and bring us all up to speed, myself and the audience up to speed on Siemens IO.
Thank you, Shawn. Thank you again. Yeah, it's a pleasure to meet you and do a presentation for your audience. And please feel free to contact us if you need any help with us.
Well, I hope you found that episode informative, and I want to thank Raj for taking all that time out of his busy schedule to come on the show and bring us all up to speed on Siemens distributed I/O products. With that said, if you're watching on YouTube or theautomationblog.com, please give us a like and a sub. And if you're listening to the audio-only edition on iTunes or Google or Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn or somewhere else, please consider giving us a 5-star review and subscribing, because that really helps us reach a wider audience as well as find new vendors to come on the show. And again, I want to thank all of those who have already done so. Thank you guys. Really appreciate it. That said, you can always follow me and get in touch with me over at automation.locals.com. And with that said, I want to wish you all a very happy, safe, and healthy week. And until next time, my friends, peace.